Send the bill to your herd. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Today's show brought to you by DreamBizChat.com. Link is in the description. Go check it out. Wanted to talk with you about sending the bill to the herd. This is a concept that I've heard brought up many times by different people, but the one person that they all attribute this line to is a man named Dan Kennedy, who we've talked about on here before. Dan Kennedy's a marketing genius and one of these people that comes up with really cool analogies. And one of the analogies he uses over and over again is it's funny because it's purposefully demeaning, and that's to refer to your customers or clients as a herd of cattle that you would build a fence around and do all the things that you would think about doing with cattle, except it's with your customers and treating them as if it's a wild herd that you're not a wild herd, a domesticated herd that you're taking care of, which is funny because I grew up working on a cattle ranch, so I always liked the analogy. And what does billing the herd mean? Billing the herd basically means that if you've got if you've got something that you have to spend money on or wanting to spend money on, it's finding a way to make that money from your customers, from your clients, making it from them, and so that you don't have to go out of your way to take it out of something else that you're already paying for or what have you. And it's if you're looking at it just the first time, you're thinking, wow, that's really a cruel way of thinking about it. It's what a capitalist pig would say, something like that. But honestly, if you look at the big picture of things, it's the way that everything works. And this comes from a couple conversations that I've had over the week. One conversation happened earlier today where me and Sean Douglas, the producer of the podcasts that we do, we were discussing this and talking about some options for being able to move forward. And we were talking about some things that were going to take some more capital. And I said, well, we can find other people to help us pay for it. And there was this very specific program that I was discussing and possibly putting forward in the future. But what does it require me to do if I want somebody to pay me money? It requires me to provide them something of value. Something of value I'm not currently providing them, something of value that nobody else is providing them, something of value that will be consistent enough that they'll pay over and over and over again. So they're getting ongoing value, specifically in the areas that I deal with. I deal with ongoing value most of the times. My clients I hold on to for a long time, and we work over a long period of time because I keep finding more and more ways that I can bring value to them, and therefore, whether that means growing their business, making their life easier, what have you. So think about the same thing in your terms. Are you already in that frame of mind? You probably have a successful business, but are you in the frame of mind that if anything ever went wrong and you were stuck with a bill, do you feel like, oh no, another bill? Or do you feel like, okay, now I got to find a way to help somebody else so that they can pay me so that I can pay this bill? Dan Kennedy actually used this analogy after a couple of his divorces that he had. He said, and he'd get stuck with a bill having to pay his ex-wife on an ongoing basis. He says, I didn't pay for that. The herd paid for that. I found a way to send the bill to the herd. And once again, it's on its face, it looks like a negative thing, but it's a positive thing because it encourages us all to be more and more creative. Another conversation I had earlier in the week had to do with taxes and the fact that, especially during election season, a lot of people are talking about taxing the rich and so forth. And I don't care which side of the aisle or what your political philosophy is. When you sit down and take a look at it, it's very, very, very difficult to tax the rich. Why is it so difficult to tax the rich? Why hasn't anybody figured out how to do this? They're the ones with all the money, right? So why can't we tax them? Well, the main reason why you can't tax them is because most of their wealth is through via cash flow. It's money that's flowing through them. You can't just take it away from them. It's coming from somewhere else. If they get billed, they're going to send the bill down the line, and where are they getting money from? They're getting money from somebody else who's getting it from somebody else, and that bill keeps going until it hits the middle and lower classes who end up paying the biggest bill, because what happens, all of the things that they are purchasing from other people go up in price in the long run. If you try and tax the rich, you're really taxing everybody. And that's not, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with taxing the rich or higher taxes or anything of the sort. I'm just saying, don't fool yourself into thinking you're going to be able to tax a certain person without taxing anybody else. It spreads throughout, because the people who are making, most of the people making most of the money, are providing products and services to somebody. And if they get stuck with a bill, they're just going to pass it on down the line. For better or worse, I think it's for better in general, because it causes us all to be more creative. And for us to be able to get anything, we've got to help somebody else. And I, at least in your life, make it a good thing in your life. Send the bill along, because when you send the bill along, it means you're providing value. You're providing value you weren't providing before. So it's a different way of thinking about the same thing. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Hey, we're back here every day. Go and check out brianjpombo.com and all the offerings we have there. We got a book coming out real soon. Got a new podcast over on offthegridbiz.com. 2 new podcast episodes that just broke yesterday and today. offthegridbiz.com. You can go and check that out. Hey, you have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.